Okay, so we have seen how to record expenditures for various vendors who have who have been invoiced. So right now we're going to look at how to receive, record the various expenses for those vendors who do not have invoices, those who are not being invoiced. So how we do that? Uh, the first thing we have to do is go to petty cash. So under petty cash, the first step is we need to top up our petty cash. So to top up our petty cash now, basically we can add another one. So or we can edit an existing one. So if we can edit that, you can change the amount, or you can decide to add another one by just clicking add. So we'll select the given account. So we'll select now the account in which money is coming from. So maybe that enter a given reference number. Then we'll enter now the amount, the date, and also add any description. Then we click save. So that way we'll have added now a given petty cash that we are going to use. So we see we have now this, we have topped up now our petty cash. So we can delete or edit any of this information. Now once you topped up your petty cash, now we are going to record now the various payments. So also under petty cash now there are two methods. So you can decide now to pay a supplier via petty cash, or you can just record now the various payments and expenses for those suppliers who do not have a petty cash. So if we click on add, we'll be able to see now this particular section. So if you are paying a given supplier who has an invoice, then you'll select now this checkbox here. You see it, this checkbox request to is asking if now this payment is an invoice payment. So if it is an invoice payment, so you select that, you'll be able now to get this. So you'll search for the vendor's name, select the invoice number. So if we search for the vendor's name, and then you'll select a given invoice number, and then from there now, after you have selected the invoice number, you can choose the payment method. The cash is being received by who, the reference number, the same thing here. You will just add you add the suppliers. So once you search for the supplier, you can add the invoice number, select the invoice number, and then payment method, received by who, the reference. So you enter the amount, and then you click submit. So that's how you're able to pay suppliers uh, via petty cash for those suppliers who have been invoiced. So the next step now is paying, adding an expense for those vendors who do not have an invoice. So with that, then you don't have to select now this option of is it an invoice payment. The only thing now you have to do is just search for the supplier now, given supplier. You choose now the particular item or the given expense. So maybe if I select now this, and so I will have added maybe a given vendor now here, maybe Total or Shell for if it's a car. So enter the amount, payment method details, the reference number, and so on. And then I'll say maybe it's let's name it as So with that now, this is how you're able to record those expenses that do not involve any supplier who those suppliers who have been invoiced. They have an invoice. So if they don't have an invoice, don't select this option. Just proceed with the searching for the supplier's name, then pick the expenditure and fill in the details, and then you just click submit. So with that, you'll be able to record now the various expenses for those suppliers who do not have the various uh, invoices. So you see, when you go to view, you'll be able to view them now. So we see we have a given supplier, the reference, the vendor, and also you can see now we can print any of this information and be able to give out now the payment vouchers. So we can see this one we have recorded. So in case also when you are adding an expenditure and you find that it's not an invoice payment and there is no supply, so you can just select the given expenditure from below and just assign and enter now the expense amount. So uh, and enter the expense amount that way. So it's not a must also you add a vendor. So if there is no vendor, so you just record now the actual expense without selecting given vendor. So also if you go to view, you'll be able to view now those expenditures. So we have this expenditure with this reference number, so we don't have a vendor, but we have recorded a given expense. So you can print any of this and give out. So it's the same process. So you print it out and give out the receipt. So with that now, it's how you are able to deal with expenditures module by recording the various expenses of the school. So it will entail both the expenditures and the petty cash. So also now under purchases, it's also the same process as the expenditures, but now the main difference between purchases and expenditures is that purchases module entails the assets. So any assets that are being purchased by the school will be recorded under purchases. But the process is just still the same with entering the purchases vote, the settings. So if you look at the votes and the settings, so they're just the same things. So we can see now we have the assets, this particular asset with this category, so with that particular item. So it's the same process on how to record and use the purchases module with the in reference. So the purchases module is just basically the same process as the expenditure module. It's just that the only difference between purchases and the expenditures is that purchases module will entail assets. Okay, but it's the same thing as the expenditures, the same process. So I hope that one will help you in understanding on how these various three modules work. So also remember, purchases entails assets, and then we have expenditures where you record the normal expenditures. So with that, I hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next one.